everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rise of the Ordning. We are jumping back on into things this evening. A couple of super quick announcements. If you are with us on Twitch, hello, hi, hope you are doing well. Make sure to grab your bingo card, exclamation bingo card. And if you are unable to stick around but want to make sure you don't miss anything or go back and watch previous sessions, everything goes up on YouTube. So this is our chance to say, hello, YouTube. Welcome on in. Hope you are doing well. If you would like to come hang out on Twitch, we stream live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Come join us.
Come
cowards.
join us. Okay. Also, I do have a couple other socials. I post regularly on TikTok for Muse's Mythos, on YouTube, and on Instagram. So if you are on any of those social medias, go look it up. Muse's Mythos. It's that easy. And check it out and join us there. There's a lot of really fun clips on there. So a great way if you're like, I like D&D, but I don't like sitting through a whole session, so I'll kind of just get the vibe, from clips, which I know some people are like that. So, but we are going to jump on into things. We have some fun stuff right away at the beginning. I'm so excited. So after our intro, I have a little bit of a big reveal for some fun stuff that people in Discord already got a little bit of a sneak peek at. So, with that being said, let's get rolling. So, last we left off, the group had been exploring the port city of Nassau, stocking up on supplies, buying gifts, doing some research. You came back together at the tavern of the famous Wyvern Wings Adventuring Guild. Oh my goodness, I can speak, I promise. Komori and Nyx witnessed a strange commotion, a very slimy, naked man being dragged in by guild members, clamoring for water. When he passed by Komori, there was a sharp pain in her head and a small vision, a memory of her being dragged beneath the water. The two of them went to go pull Zari from the library, who she was on the tip of discovering something about Ravasi's family, to inform her of the strange slimy man. Showing some interest, the three went to investigate the infirmary, where Doreen, a very famous cleric of Katsua, had begun examining him. He had been found on the beach near a sewer exit in a membranous material. The group explained that Komori may have some connection, and Zari offered to help research. That night, Komori dreamed. Her usual dreams, but a resurfacing memory of a giant golden eye. In the morning, Izzy the Sword approached the group and requested their assistance in investigating the matter, as the slimy man was Lord Arton Rosalio, the son of a famous Marian diplomat in town, to discuss a tenuous trade treaty. If members of the Wyvern Wings Adventuring Guild were caught investigating, it could cause political issues. Thus, the diplomat was requested and unaffiliated adventurers to help. The group questioned the Lord, now sitting a tub of water as Doreen worked on magic to cure him, and found out that he was planning on going out, that he remembers a golden goose, and he had has a vision of a lady in purple. You proceeded to the Marine Embassy, where you met with his mother, Lady Rosalio, a very famous druid from the Trade Wars. She offered the group gold, whatever magic item they may want, and the party knows all the implications there, and requested that you bring back information, and if you were able to locate the family crest that Arton was wearing when he disappeared, you could get a monetary bonus. She also informed you that several other young lords involved in the party scene had gone missing, and that Arton's favorite place to gamble was the Grand Dame, a casino yacht from Maria that had made a trip up for the peace talks. The group asked for some fancy digs to make sure that they could get onto the Grand Dame that evening. Then you went to go check out the sewer entrance. There you noticed that you were being watched by a member of the Thieves Guild. You confronted her and found out that they have also heard rumors of the disappearing nobles, and that they believed an organization was behind it but weren't sure which one. Annoyed by the lack of information, you went to go get ready to investigate the casino yacht. Your digs were dropped off at the Adventuring Guild, as well as, and I didn't say this last time, but she did send you a pouch of gold that, pays for you to be able to go on the boat. So.
Very nice.
Yes.
Cool.
This is where we will pick up. We are picking up as you are walking through the city of Nassau, all ready to go, and dressed up. The sun is setting, the wind is whipping in your hair, and the light of the streets are coming on. You hear music starting, the thrum of bass and drums from different taverns and clubs, the smell of delicious food as you walk through the streets to the docks. You start to get a view of the water, and it's not hard to spot the large, ornately decorated river boat. The Grande Dame sits low and proud on the city docks, her flat-bottomed hull painted a deep lacquered green and trimmed in gold leaf that catches the setting sun like a row of small fires. Her railings are a wrought iron shaped into climbing wisteria. Each post is twisting vine, and there seems to be blossoms decorated throughout. And her woodwork is carved with the sweeping, curved fashion that you see, or that you actually recognize kind of from the Marian embassy, suggesting water and wind. Lanterns of amber and peacock blue glass hang at every deck, starting to magically light up, and the whole ship seems to glow from within like something alive. You smell river water, expensive perfume, the beginnings of delicious food, and as you look over the docks, it looks like money. And this is actually where we are going to turn to see the group. And I'd also love to show off some amazing art from our artist, Megan, who has done all of the art for the character designs that you see here. But our friend Kyber, who, if you remember, played Volano, our guest character, a couple sessions ago, commissioned this for us. He actually surprised everybody. He commissioned it immediately after the last session, and Megan whipped it up in a week. So, absolutely snaps to her. I'm going to drop her Instagram and website in the chat box, as well as it will be in the description below. If you are on YouTube, if you want to go check her out, give her a follow. She's working on a webtoon right now, so make sure you check that out. Okay, but with that being said, I'm going to show off some art, and I would absolutely love if each of you could kind of re-describe your fantasy outfits as we show off the art here. So, I'm going to start with, who's first? Ravasi, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. This is Ravasi's outfit. Go ahead. What does Ravasi look like as we kind of pan to the whole group?
Ravasi is very much so kind of like his cockiness and swagger that he's kind of not dulled but tempered down is back in full swing. Walking like he absolutely owns the place. He's got on this crushed like red velvet red suit. He's got his hair is finally able to long enough to go back in a little ponytail. He's got a little bow tie. He is like looking at people like he belongs, and he's very subtly twisting that small signet ring on his pinky. Yeah, he looks excited.
Okay.
And nervous.
Beautiful. I love it. And this is, here, hold on. Let me zoom in on the art a little bit so that you guys can see. Yeah. There you go. Look at him! He looks so good. Okay. Next, down the line, we have Nyx. If you would like to kind of describe what you see. And also, sorry, I'm flashbanging the art on your screen.
Nyx is wearing a nice long black dress with some nice black gloves, and her hair is perfect from the pin she got. And she has a pretty upset demeanor about her new outfit, but it is what it is.
I love it. Okay, and next we have Zari, or actually she is told the group and is going by Iris.
Absolutely. So Iris is in this very dark black multi-layered dress with several layers of ruffles that have constellations embroidered in, as well as a sort of harness top up front and long sleeves. She has very ornate headwear with silver moons and such, as well as a blue mouth veil. and she is nearly stick straight upright, and when she walks, she barely ruffles the dress. It almost looks like she's floating. She is very well put together, and it is nearly impossible to read her face.
I love it. And last but not least, we have Kamori.
Komori is wearing a full dark teal pantsuit and actually wearing footwear for once. Who could have thought that? Also has her hair tied up back a bit and everything, which is not what everyone is used to seeing. It's usually more wild, ragged, in her face a bit, and a lot more put together than she usually is.
I actually imagine that Kamori went to Ravasi and Ravasi helped a bit tying your hair back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
She's not thrilled about it, but she's not entirely hating it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, everybody say thank you to Megan and say thank you to Kyber for commissioning that. He's not here right now because he's working, but we will have to definitely send...
Boo!
I know! Boo!
Thank-
Work! Get in the way! But we'll definitely have to send him our appreciation. Everybody's already, sent appreciation because he sent it
Thank
to
you,
us a couple
Kyber!
days ago. But-
Yay.
Yes, and our amazing artist. Okay. So, with that, you do see a line of people kind of next to the walk-on plank. It does look like there's a man with a couple of bouncers near him checking a list and letting people through, and you are welcome to go get ready to join the line. There's several people in line, a couple of very well-dressed, looks to be nobles or people, and you can see people are walking by and looking on jealously. So, what would you like to do?
I will connect to Ravana's head and kind of go, is this the move where we cut the line and just walk on, or no?
Well, it depends. Do we want... Here's the important part, is that we need to be a little condescending towards the people, but we should not be condescending towards the other guests, because that leads to us getting too much negative attention. However, it is potentially be used. I'm thinking too much about this.
Bossy rambling in his head.
Alrighty, so what I'm hearing is these are important. Wait.
I think it would be best to get in line.
There's maybe 8 people in front of you guys.
Yeah, that's if it was a huge ass line, he'd be like, "Nah, let's be dicks, let's do it."
So, and as you guys kind of queue up, you actually watch as he, the captain looks over the list and goes, I don't see you on the list, to a couple people in front of you. And they go, oh, we're with some of the lords, they're on the ship. And he goes, I didn't hear anything of that. If you want to let this person know, and he gestures to what looks to be a working girl off to the side. There's a line of them kind of waiting to escort people on the ship. Who your friend is, and then maybe they can go find him, but you're gonna have to wait over here. Step to the side, please. Stop holding up my line. And he pushes a group of what looks to be 2 girls in very nice silk. Ravasi, you're looking at it. They 110%. Their silks are not great. It's Shein quality, quote unquote.
Oh, no.
They were 110% bluffing to try to get on.
Yeah.
Oh no, fantasy sheen.
Oh no, fantasy Shein. It's just it's shaman.
No! Sham is not that horrible of a person, thank you.
Oh, he won't
Shorty?
fashion.
Nuh-uh. He would not participate in fast fashion that enslaves people.
Shorty, would Sham participate in fast fashion that tricks people?
No, of course not.
Ah, fair enough.
Don't be ridiculous.
Okay, with
I'll
that,
send you the money later.
that it takes a couple of minutes, but then eventually you do make your way to the front of the line. Who is leading this conversation?
While we're waiting in line, I'm going to look at everyone and I'm going to say, I need all of you to give me your most sort of, I belong here, pretentious, mean mugging, like, don't look nervous at all.
Oh, damn! Okay, Tazira! Okay, Iris! Just a casual 19.
Perfect. Sound good? I don't necessarily care what kind of vibe you're going for, but you belong here. All right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Iris will nod.
All right. Yeah, and when it's ready, he will step up.
He
Hello.
nods at you. Hello, welcome to the Grand Dame. Do you have a name on the list?
I unfortunately do not. However, I was wondering, and he's gonna do the very classic, like, smile again with his, like, hand on his chin so you can see the signet ring. I was wondering if there's a way that me and my friends could get on the list right now.
He looks at the signet ring, and you see, like, a glint of recognition, and he goes, He kind of looks to one of the people to the side, and he goes, do you mind telling me your name?
Ravossi Rivenvine. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Ah, yes, okay. I thought I recognized Salstone Noble, but I wasn't sure which one. Well,
Oh, of course, of course. We don't get out very much.
I understand. Well, we do have some availability this evening, and I'm sure we would love to cater to you as well as your acquaintances.
Of course, of course. I just was so intrigued by a casino yacht. I've never been on one before, and he's trying to butter him up to see if he can get a little, like, extra. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This guy's kind of gruff. You can tell that, like,
Mhm.
you're buttering him up, and he doesn't seem to be, like, the only thing that he kind of perks up at is that you've never seen a casino yacht before, and he just goes, well, we're actually, the only of our kind right now.
Fascinating.
Well, it is 50 gold apiece for each person, but that does cover all of your food and drinking and tips.
Yep, he will put the gold that she gave us into his hand.
Yep, and it's actually exactly correct. It's 200 gold pieces.
Perfect.
And he nods and he goes, welcome to the Grand Dame. Dinner is served in the dining hall starting in about an hour. Drinks and appetizer are already available in the casino. The price of everything is included in your entry fee, including tips, but if you would like to tip extra to an amazing server or dealer, you are welcome to do so. Please go visit Pao Ming at the desk to purchase your chips for gambling. The dance hall is accessible through the casino, and the rest of the upper deck is for staff only. We ask that you stay on the main deck otherwise. We will be taking off in about 30 minutes and be traveling up the Great Divide and back down until dawn. You will not be able to get off.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much. And he's gonna tip him 2 gold.
Okay. He nods and passes it to one of the bouncers, and a well-dressed young human woman steps forward, her brunette hair braided underneath, like, a cute little boat hat. And she steps forward and gestures for you to step up the gangplank onto the Grand Dame.
Mm-hmm.
As you do so, you see that the surrounding deck wraps the entire lower level in a promenade of dark lacquered planking. It's wide enough to stroll and has that wisteria railing. Up close, as you look, the craftsmanship is almost startling. Each flower seems to be cast individually and is very well done. The railing runs the length of the ship in unbroken line. Magically lit lanterns are along it. The amber glass is kind of done in a similar vine and blossom motif, and they throw warm and slightly orange light, the kind of light that makes skin look beautiful and shadows look so soft. The ship is louder than the city as you are beginning to step on, and you begin to hear music coming from somewhere the closer you get. A low conversation of other guests who have arrived before you, the creak of the hull against the dock, and a burst of laughter from a direction that you cannot quite place. Why is my music not starting? Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you.
Vibes.
Yep,
Vibes.
we gotta get the vibes going. The young lady leads you to the tall doors. Dark carved wood with a landscape of stylized reeds and water birds mid-stride. Their long legs are disappearing into carved ripples of the panel's face. The handles are cast in brass in the shape of golden goosenecks, their heads forming the grip and their bills pointing downward. The doors stand open. Through the doors, sound spills out at first. The low swell of conversation, the snap and slides of cards, particular chime of wooden chips being stacked by idle fingers, string music coming from somewhere above and carried down through the floor. The light is warmer and greener than the deck, and you see glass globes casting light everywhere. It smells of expensive wine, warm food, and the faint sweetness of incense, and beneath it all something older, a little bit harder to name. The smell of an evening that has already begun without you. You see the ceiling opening up above you, painted geese in flight over a gilded river, their hammered gold feathers catching the light of lanterns below and throwing it back in slow shifting ripples across all the surfaces of the room. There's card tables that stretch out in rows, their peacock teal-painted wood vivid against the dark walnut floors, dealers working in an unhurried precision of people who are never surprised. The guests move between them in silks and velvets and carefully chosen jewelry, their voices kept to a lower register. At the far end of the room, you see a golden goose. It's a very large statue of gilded wood, neck arched, surrounded by her court of waiting wine glasses. The light finds her from every angle and she reflects it all back. The attendant leads you to a desk where a silken-clad woman stands behind, bowing as the previous guest walked away. Her hair is pulled up tightly in a bun, an elaborate pin holding it in place, and the rest of it cascades onto an elaborately embroidered green dragon on her shoulder and clavicle of her jacket. And she nods at all of you and says, "Hello, and welcome to the Golden Goose Casino on the Grand Dam. Would you like to purchase chips this evening?"
We'll look at the rest of the squad first.
I will connect to her head. How much gold per chip?
1 gold per chip.
I will look back to Ravasi.
I'm gonna look at you and sign like seer at you.
Is this man asking me to use my oracle powers to rig gambling? Because by
Potentially, yes.
yeah, I'm gonna get 27 chips.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm going to get 32 chips.
Okay, go ahead and mark off that gold.
Let me just read. This might be really useful. Let me read how the wording of wheel here. Is gambling considered an ability check?
There's ability checks included. If you're trying to sleight of hand or cheat something, I would absolutely call that an ability check.
Beautiful, because this is what I have for Cosmic Omen, and I currently rolled the wheel.
Okay.
Whichever creature you can see within 30 feet of you is about to make an attack roll, a saving throw, or an ability check. You can use a reaction to roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the total.
Interesting. I would definitely allow that if you're trying to cheat.
No, we would never cheat.
Never.
Unless I was losing.
Except evening the playing field, you know?
Exactly.
Komori, Nix, are you purchasing any chips?
No
I'm
thanks.
holding off for right now.
Okay.
But she does kind of. It's more so just because she's seen what gambling has done to people.
Okay, there's a reason why Ravasi got not a lot of chips.
And she nods as you are doing so, and she says, as always, this desk will be open, and I may be wandering. You are welcome to purchase more chips when you need to.
When?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And she nods again, and she says, the dance floor is upstairs. You can use the spiral staircase over there, and she gestures off to the side. All food and libations are included, and the dining hall is towards the front of the ship. There's one serving of dinner starting shortly, and the second wave is in roughly about 3 hours. You are welcome to choose whichever you would please. Would you like to see the menu for this evening?
Absolutely. That would be very lovely.
Okay, good, because I worked really hard on this.
Is that Zari or is that the attendant?
That's Zari.
No, it's the lady. It's the lady.
No,
She's
it's-
like, good, I worked really hard on
No,
it. The chef worked so hard on
The
this.
chef works very hard on this. I wonder if I can make this bigger. I don't know that I can. It's a Zari cameo in your D&D session. I'm sorry if it's hard to read. I will read out loud for our friends who are listening, as Iris is
you
looking
wrote it
over
out.
this. I wrote it
Amazing.
out. I was excited. It looks like you are greeted with a sparkling white wine from the Marine Valley with the ship's bread and black pepper river herb butter. The first course is called the River's Greeting. It is a chilled bisque of freshwater crayfish, finished with cream and dry sherry, and topped with a poached crayfish tail and fried leek. And that's paired with a French 75, which, if you don't know, that is a gin and lemon cocktail topped with a bubbly. So,
if you don't know, it's Sly's favorite drink.
It's one of my favorite drinks too. Although I'm not a huge gin fan, but
You don't understand.
I'll drink it. The second course is a winter salad, which is bitter winter greens and a warm duck fat vinaigrette with candied walnuts, sliced pear, and aged hard cheese. The third course is the fish course. This is the crisp-skinned river trout on a cream parsnip and braised fennel, finished with brown butter, capers, and preserved lemon, which is paired with a Chardonnay. The fourth is the sorbet, which is a green grape and elderflower sorbet. The fifth is the meat. You get a choice between a roast, which is beef with potato, gratin, red wine reduction, watercress. The bird, which is roast duck with an orange and honey glaze, warm lentil salad, and sharp fruit conserve. And river pie, which is a deep dish pastry of freshwater fish, shellfish, leek, and cream, which is accompanied by a very familiar looking wine there, ribbon wine red blend. The sixth is the cheese course, which is 3 cheeses that are selected each evening. Tonight it is a soft bloomy rind with honeycomb, an aged amber with dried fruit, and a blue veined with tomato relish. The seventh course is the dessert course. You can choose between a tart, ice cream, and fruit, essentially. Paired with a very thick ice wine. And then there's coffee, tea, and your last glass served. Thank you. Thank you.
We're absolutely going to go get this course, right?
Iris will nod.
Right?
I mean, this all just sounds way too much for my blood.
It is going to be one of the best experiences in your life. Trust me.
Ravasi, I will say, just so you're aware, looking at this with where they'd have to source the crawfish and the freshwater fish and everything, you would assume that this dinner is worth more than 50 gold, which tells you, and the fact that they have essentially free drinks otherwise and free appetizers otherwise, which tells you that they do very well with gambling, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, Ravasi is going to say, if you want the best bang for your buck, you are going to eat as much as humanly possible and do as little gambling as possible. This meal is easily worth. Could he estimate that it's easily worth like 100 to 200 gold apiece?
Yeah, easily. Probably 100,
Oh, no.
150 depending on the season.
Yeah, he'll say that.
Oh.
Ball out.
That's all you had to say, Chief.
Okay.
Alrighty, dinner, try to talk to some people and get
Are
some.
there any complimentary things of champagne just chilling?
Oh, absolutely. So hold on. This was you looking at the menu at the desk, and she just kind of continues to talk as you guys are looking, and she says there are many various games around the casino hall, so please do help yourself and to any of the appetizers and beverages by the Golden Goose, or snag a server if you would like a specialty cocktail. And then as you walk away, she bows and is already talking to the next guest that is beginning to walk up with another escort. So, you turn to the Golden Goose Casino. There are servers walking around. There seems to be a whole, appetizer stand if you would like to, or you could snag something off of a plate. What would the group like to do?
Ravasi is going to, in the most ostentatious way possible, grab 4 glasses of champagne and offer it to the crew.
Yes.
I don't think they can drink their own duties, Ravasi.
Would you like it or no?
No thanks. I imagine this boat's gonna catch on fire at some point in the night and we're gonna be stuck fighting something, so I'm gonna pass.
Fair enough. So, I don't know what all of your plans are, but all of my plan is to, he kind of coughs and goes, use myself as bait.
Would you like me to be in eyes distance then, so that if I can connect to the other folk on the ship?
Yes, my plan is to be loud and boisterous and very obviously drinking, and I would love for the
What you
rest of
always
you all.
did.
I don't actually drink all that much when I am busy. And I will appear to be drinking a whole bunch. All of this to say, what would work best is not necessarily to pay as much attention to me, and more paying attention to those who pay attention to me. If that makes sense.
Desire will nod.
I also, and he's going to, finger the coin a little bit in his pocket. I also might see if I can't worm my way in a little deeper with perhaps a staff member, or what would it be, the person in charge? What would I call him?
There's likely the captain who's probably driving the boat, and then you assume that there is some sort of manager overlooking, but it does seem that Po Ming, who you just spoke to, is likely the manager that's looking over things right now.
Yeah. He's planning on seeing if, because the golden goose symbol that he has is, the exact same, right?
Yes, and actually, as you look at the chips that you were collecting, they are an exact match to the chip that you were given back in Fireshear. They all have the exact golden goose in there.
So he essentially gave me a poker chip.
He essentially gave you a poker chip.
Is there anything special to this one that I can differentiate between the others?
Roll an investigation check.
I will assist.
Okay, roll an investigation check with advantage.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
19.
Nice.
I don't know why did it roll with advantage? It did not. Let me roll once more, DM.
Go ahead.
I highly doubt it'll be any higher, but
No, it's close. With a 19, you are almost 100% positive that is exactly the same.
Ah, darn. I was hoping it would be a little different.
Well, that is good to know. I'm just gonna take like a look around if we're near the actual games at all. What kinds of gambling do they have here?
Absolutely. So, as you are looking around, you see that there are. See, okay. Zari has been to a casino all of like 3 times in her life and has barely gambled. So I don't know the names of all of these, and I didn't take the time to name them all. But you see like the spinners, so the little spinning wheel where dealers drop balls on there that you can bet on what that is. So that is actually a roulette wheel. Thank you, chat. So you can bet on either odds or evens, or you can choose a number between like 1 and 20, and we roll a 20-sided die for that one. You also see a game that I don't know how much you would know, or if you would have like done any parties, but a very common gambling game called Kobold's Knuckles. Ravasi would recognize this one for sure. It's essentially, for us humans, the dice game of blackjack. So you make a bet, you roll dice in the open, the dealer's going to roll behind one in the open, one behind the screen, and you can choose to roll additional dice. The goal is to get close to 10 without exceeding it. And you can essentially, like, we go around and you hit it again if you would like. So, and any players with a result lower than the dealer lose their bets. And if you have the same or higher, you win your bets.
Dealer wins, we win if it's tie.
Correct. Then you also see another card game that looks a little bit different. It's essentially you're betting on what the dealer's drawing. So the dealer looks to be drawing 3 cards, and if you bet that number, you get money back depending on how many you bet. So, which we'll do with dice rolls. And then in the corner, you see a couple of what look to be very ornate chessboards, and it seems to be a game called Saba. It's essentially a type of chess from Thalor. You play against each other using ebony pieces that look like drow warriors, mages, and priestesses, and the goal is to destroy the other player's noble house. It's a skill game.
Iris knows where she might be going if she wants to actually have fun tonight.
Yep, and I would say you 110% know how to play Saba. It just seems that they also bet on it here.
Alrighty. Well, I suppose where in particular do we want to start other than dinner?
Well, dinner's not for now.
Dinner is in about 30 minutes. Kamori, because I know that you would appreciate this, you see kind of laid out, there's quite a few different, what looks to be cocktails. That looks like there's a mini bar cocktail station. People are walking around with glasses of champagne. You also see someone walking around with what looks to be brandy neat or bourbon neat. You're not sure. You do also see some fancy looking deviled eggs being passed around. Some like little I'm forgetting, what do you put bruschetta on, Sly? I'm blanking. Baguette pieces?
Bread?
It's like little bread
baguette.
with something whipped looking on top. Little pastry cups that look to be filled with mushrooms, as well as oysters. And there's a very fancy looking charcuterie board section.
Oh, of course.
Because it wouldn't be a Zari party without a charcuterie board.
Beautiful.
Can't confirm.
I will also just kind of say into everybody's minds, as I poof myth it back into existence. Mipit has the ability to detect poisons by taste or smell. We can also have her look around and see if there might be anything going on in this ship that is unsavory and leads to the fragmented memories.
Yes,
Fair
yes,
enough.
yes. I suspect that people here are potentially victims. So, yes, that makes sense to me.
And I also note, Zari, that Tressums have the ability to see invisibility within 60 feet.
Okay.
And we'll be consistently checking in with Mipit to see if she sees anything invisible.
Okay. Right now, she does not.
Beautiful.
Okay, what would the party like to do? You have about 30 minutes until the first round of dinner. Or you could choose to wait until the second round of dinner in roughly 3.5 hours.
I'm hungry.
Honestly, I could eat, and if it comes down to it, I will eat them at a house and home.
Komori,
Right.
already has, 5 baguettes
I
that
have
she's
grabbed.
eating.
I have already grabbed 5 whole serving trays of deviled eggs.
Yeah.
Nice.
You try one of the toast pieces, and it seems to be some sort of, whipped cream cheese with shallots in it, and something very, a tang of something fermented in there.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, Ravazzi will go play a game or two.
Okay, do you have a game that you would like to play?
I can't think of anything. He's gonna just kind of wander to the closest table. Like I said, he's planning on being he's like, I'm baked tonight. I
Okay.
am going to be loud and boisterous and flirty with people, and I'm going to I know what a prime target looks like. I'm going to make myself a prime fucking target.
I think you walk up to the wheel and you start with that because you know it's easy and you know how to do it.
Perfect.
So, and where would the rest of the group be going as Ravasi wanders off to the roulette wheel?
I am going to wander off to play some Saba, but I will have Mipit on my shoulder and be flicking in between her eyes and my eyes to keep an eye on who's watching Ravasi.
Okay. Nyx, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna loiter around and not do anything crazy.
Okay. Komori?
Komori kind of wants to look around and sort of scope out to see if there's anyone who seems like a little suspicious. But also wants to make it look convincing, so she's basically using it as an excuse to look around for any different hors d'oeuvres.
Okay. Sounds good. So we're gonna start with Komori and Nyx because they're gonna be the quickest. Both of you can either make me a perception check or an investigation check, or an insight check, and each choose one, and that will be you'll get different things depending.
Okay. I
13 insight.
Beautiful.
I got perception.
Okay. Holy shit, Komori. Okay. So, Nyx, as you're kind of looking around, you are pretty sure that you kind of wander behind one of the Kobold's Knuckles tables and are watching, and then you go loiter a little bit over by the Golden Goose. Someone does come and offer you cocktails, and if you would request something else to drink, they absolutely would bring you a mocktail or water or whatever you want. And you are kind of picking up on the fact that everybody who's here is trying to look more important than they are, as the most important they could look, and then you're pretty sure that there's not anybody cheating as far as you can tell. So, Komori, as you're looking around with that 27, you loiter a bit, you pick up on a whole bunch of snacks. You're looking around and you think about a purple dress. And as you're looking around, you don't see anyone in a purple dress yet.
Okay.
But you are in one room and there's quite a few other places to explore. But before we get there, let's do roulette first because it's the quickest. So go ahead and pick either a number between 1 and 20, or you can choose odds or evens. If you land on a specific number, you win 4 times your bet. If you land on either the evens or the odds, you win 2 times your bet.
Okay.
And otherwise, you lose. So, what would you like to bet?
That's pretty chill. Ravasi will bet 5 gold.
On what?
You said either pick a number or odds or evens.
Correct. And
Let's
it's between
start-
1 and 20.
Let's start small. Let's do just let's pick evens.
Okay, sounds good. Do you want to roll the d20?
Sure, I'll roll a d20. Fuck.
Okay, you lose 5 gold.
Alright.
Would you like to bet again?
Sure, you'd love to bet again.
Okay.
Let's do 3 gold this time, and let's do odds.
Okay.
hell.
Oh man, you lose.
This is why Sly doesn't do fucking luck shit.
Gambling. I know. I'm so sorry.
Maybe someone else should roll for me.
Someone else could roll for you. I just need a d20. How
Alright,
how
so
long are
play-
you lingering here?
Ravasi is kind of lingering long enough to start chit-chatting with other patrons. And Ravasi understands that people are, like, obviously going to try to make themselves feel more important. And Ravasi is, for lack of better terms, he's engaging with people in this sort of, like, I want to get to know you, but in more of a, like, impress me. Like, I want him to feel, and I'm more than happy to make a roll for this, but I want him to feel to people like, oh, he's really important. I need to impress this guy, as opposed to, oh, he's someone who's trying to impress me.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a general. Let's do a general persuasion check.
All right.
Okay.
Shit roll.
That's okay. It's still pretty good considering. It takes a little bit, but you're there. Let's say you lose like another
Losing.
5 and then you gain, like, you win 1 but you only bet 3 gold, so you get 6 back.
Okay.
And then you end up chatting up someone named Nivu. She seems to be some sort of daughter of a merchant, like a very rich merchant from Maria. And has kind of come and often trades here. You start talking about her life and you get the sense that she's like, I'm rich girl. I came to hang out with Dad. We split our time between here and Maria, and we go back and forth depending, and I just had to be here during the trade season because I heard that the Grand Dame was coming up, and I love it down in, I'm blanking on the name of the town, but the other town.
Yeah.
So, but you think that you've made an impression on her. You definitely have caught the eye of, like, 2 other people, but you have not had a chance to talk with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point, he is going to. So I've lost a total of what? 8, and then you said I gained 6 back, so I've lost 2 tokens.
Perfect.
Do you trust me? I don't think I did my math right.
It doesn't matter too much.
Fair.
You guys have so much gold. Okay. So, we're going to skip over to Iris as you sit down. You end up sitting down at the table. It seems that a lot of the people who are playing this game are a little bit on the older side, with the exception of you, Iris. And, like some of the older men who are, looking for something that lasts a little bit longer than super quick fix gambling, if that makes sense.
Well, they're old. Of course, they're looking for something that lasts a little bit longer than a quick fix.
Ha ha ha.
Heyo!
I'm sorry, I had
Yup. You see a white-haired, very gaudily dressed noble, that when the table opens up, it looks like he had won, and you kind of see a middle-aged man, like, nod at him, and then walk away, and immediately grabs, like, a shot of brandy neat and slams it down. Looks like he lost horribly. But there is an open table if you would like to sit down.
Absolutely. I will walk up to the table, take a silent bow, and then sit down across from him.
He puts his hand out and says, puts his hand out to take your hand, like, to the kiss greeting on your hand, and bows over the table and says, "My name is Lord Hubert. I am from Rosewick, and you are?"
I will take his hand and connect into his head. "My name is Iris Vervain. A pleasure to meet you."
He nods. The people from Simona City are very common enough that this doesn't freak out most people in melting pot towns, just so you know, and other people are aware. So telepathic conversation is pretty common.
Beautiful.
So it doesn't seem that it freaks him out. So he begins to set out the pieces for you, and he goes, "How much would you like to bet?" It is typically a minimum bet of 5 geese here.
I will place down 7.
Okay. He matches you. And as he's setting things up and getting things ready, he kind of starts to make conversation. He says, "I have not seen you here before, Lady Vervain. Is this your first time?"
Iris will nod. Yes, I am currently, for lack of better term, getting a sense of the different colors of the world. And what better place?
He smiles. He says, "I typically play at the local places, so if you are looking for hold on, I don't have that document up. So if you are looking for another place after the Grand Dame has gone away, you can always go check out Zari, can't find the name of the casino. The Gilded Wheel. There we go. They do have Saba tables there, as I see that it is your speed."
Iris will nod and give a slight smile. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. What brings you in this area?
Oh, I typically stay here. My family's involved in a bit of the accounting of Rosewick. I'm retired, you see, and I tend to just stay here at the family manor in Nassau. I like the sea.
Iris will nod. It's very calming out here. I can see that this would be a fantastic place to carry out your retirement days.
He smiles.
And then she will quirk kind of a little bit of a sly smile. And what better person to wager some coin than an accountant?
My accounting days are long over. I've passed that on to my son, and he is currently training my grandson.
I hope the wit remains, though. Otherwise, this might be a boring game.
So, with this, as you are having this conversation, you are going to make 3 checks. You make an intelligence check, an insight, which is like your game, right? The game check. What proficiencies? Do you have any proficiencies in games?
I actually do not. The only tool I have are disguise kit and herbalism.
Okay, so this would just be a straight check. This makes sense in my brain. You probably played some when you had to, but I don't imagine that you were like really, really good at it. You were more excited about reading and
Yeah,
learning.
things.
So then you're going to make an insight check, and then you will make a deception check. It is a game of skill, deception, and insight. So then we're going to compare the combined total rolls of these three.
Fantastic. So first is intelligence.
Yup.
Beautiful. I will take that.
Okay, he rolled a nat 1.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead and roll your insight.
Beautiful. I am going to use my reaction to give myself a d6 on that,
Okay.
as there's just a faint glimmer in her eye, so that boosted up to a 14.
Okay. And then last roll.
Deception.
Correct.
14.
Okay. So, you have 19 plus 8 plus 6 plus 14. So you have a total of 47. And he got that nat 1. He did have a 2, or a plus 2 bonus. So it's going to be 3 total. And then
Cool.
he rolled a 13, and he has a plus 2 bonus to that as well, so plus 15. And I think you're actually going to win here, because he rolled a 17, but it is still under you with his plus 3 bonus there. So, I don't think you thoroughly trounce him. I think that he's kind of... You can tell that he's distracted by the conversation and really enjoying talking with you, especially because you're a very young, pretty woman, and he's an old man who very often plays with probably other old men, and so I think that it's not that he lets you win, it's that he's not like super dialed in, but he's very pleasant to talk to. You don't get creepy vibes, you just get like a kind of older, lonely man in retirement who probably sits at his empty manor in town most days because the rest of his family's probably in Rosewick proper.
Yeah, and at some point I will try and she'll pretty much pull something like, well, I'm rather new in the area, but I've heard one or two concerning things. I've heard a couple of the nobles have just not been showing up in places.
Oh, I haven't heard anything of that, my dear. It wouldn't surprise me. There's a lot of nobles in town, and there's a lot of... There's a lot of people who have been swapping places for the evening, if you get what I mean.
She will kind of nod. Well, that's fair. It's good to know that everything is peaceful as it should be.
You know, one of my favorite people to combat the game with is Lady Italia. You should maybe see if you can find her later. She usually doesn't show... She spends the first bit of it listening to music and usually doesn't show until dinner, but maybe you could find her later and play a game with her. I'm sure she would really enjoy playing with another lovely young lady.
Iris smile. Oh, tell me more. Don't believe I've met her before.
She seems to have come up from Maria and is a lady down there as well. But
Maria, how pleasant of a place.
He smiles. I've been quite a few times.
Oh, thank you very much for the tip, and happy playing to you.
He nods. Okay. With that, it's about time. So a game of Sava takes like about 30 minutes. So if there's anything else you guys would have liked to do, well, during that 30 minutes, otherwise we can move on to dinner time.
Rivasi is just gonna be like chatting people up, being a little boisterous, acting like he belongs. wandering a bit. If there are any pretty ladies or men, or anything in between, that seems particularly interested in him, like flirting wise, he's going for it.
Okay. Roll me a general charisma check.
18.
Okay. So with an 18, you do find a person that I think that you play a game of Kobold's Knuckles with him. His name is Boo, B-U-E. Boo Emberward.
Okay.
And he cracks a joke of like, I know everyone makes fun of me for it. I'm not a ghost.
No, but you are a bow.
And he seems to be coming on to you, like, not aggressively, very, like, calmly. He's a little bit more distinguished, probably a couple years older than you, seems to be drinking, like, straight bourbon, and is just very calm, but very amused by watching you flit around. But after a little bit, the bell does ring for dinner, and you do see a couple of people, and it's not like the bell rings, everybody gets up and runs. Like, it's very leisurely. People begin to move towards the door. Some people stay at the table and continue to gamble. And you all convene. It is pretty easy to get a table together if you would like, and Boo does join you if you would invite him, Ravase.
Yeah, Ravase is definitely inviting him.
Okay. Okay. With that, you all make your way to dinner, and as you enter, you are indeed handed a glass of bubbly if you would like it. There is non-alcoholic sparkling too if you would like that. And you sit down to a delicious smelling bread at the table. It looks to be like a dark loaf that is very delicious. Dinner's served. I'm not going to go through all of the courses again, unless you want me to. I'm very proud of it. But it's pretty much the same descriptions that you already got. It is, Komori, you were kind of like expecting very, very small portions. It does seem that they have not necessarily small portions. They're decent, but they definitely aren't too much to overfill you. Although you've eaten like a bajillion deviled eggs, so I don't know how hungry you are still.
Mori.
The eggs are
You have to
nothing.
eat a dragon.
I have to train to do it.
Yup. I would say, Komori, you eat the fish, and it reminds you of your time in, hold on, I'm gonna actually go pull up the name of the city that you were in. It reminds you of your time in the Glistening Tempest, and the time that you hung out with the guild there. The Promise of the Sea is the guild's name.
Yeah.
It's like, I would say it's a fancier take on a dish that you probably have had a couple of times. So a very beautiful river trout, skin side up. It's very crisp. And there's creamed parsnip that's delicious, and it has like a brown butter sauce with capers and lemons, etc.
Yeah, do you want to bring the menu up at least?
I
So
would
if
love
chat
to
wants
show
read
you
it.
again, if you can. It's very hard to read, honestly. But I will show you guys again.
The wonderful menu.
I'm sure Archie will have a great time reading it.
I'm sure Archie will have an absolute great time reading it. Okay.
Love you, Archie.
I would say that for those who have a sweet tooth, the sorbet, which if you guys did not know, having like a small thing of sorbet in the middle of your meal kind of helps with, it's a palate cleanser. So, Ravasi, when you are served I'm actually kind of curious, what meat would everybody choose? What meat dish would you choose?
Iris does have a huge sweet tooth, I think, so she gets the bird.
Okay. It is kind of sweet. It's very delicious.
Ravasi's absolutely going for the roast.
Roast, 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 roast.
I'm curious, Nyx, what would you eat?
I will also do the bird.
Okay. The wine, Ravasi, you recognize it as a blend from probably like maybe 14-ish.
40 years ago?
I would say 14-ish. It's not quite that old. It's not like vintage, especially considering the fact that your family, well, they do have some years that they do like it's a reserve blend. And 14 years ago was a year that they put out a bunch of cases of the reserve blend. And the amount of cases that they would need to do a wine pairing, you get the sense that it was more that there was more bottles accessible without cleaning out your family's cellars.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, you've had what you would say the better rendition of this blend is, but it's a decent year. It was probably one of the most commercial of the reserve red blend.
Okay. Ravasi is wondering Sly is wondering that as this is being served, because he was straight up like, yeah, this is who I am. He is kind of curious if anyone like comes around and be like, oh, this is your family's wine, yada yada yada.
I would think that
like one of the sommeliers or something.
Yeah, I think that one of the sommeliers would kind of say that, and he makes like, it's not quiet, but it's not like loud. He makes conversation about the wine, and I feel like you have that conversation that you and I just had there, where you're talking about like, oh, it's not as good as the one from 40 years ago, but like we unfortunately couldn't purchase that. I do have a bottle of that in the back if you want me to bring it out for you if you're missing home. Like you have that kind of conversation.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely gonna be like, I would love that bottle.
Okay. He brings it out for you and like pours it for the table. Boo next to you is like looks a little impressed. You get the sense that he probably didn't like recognize who you were. And you do notice that you're gathering some attention from the other tables nearby.
Good. Pay attention to the pretty boy. Don't pay attention to anyone else at his table. They're just candy dressing. Of course, totally.
Exactly.
Kick their asses, guys.
Exactly.
I will try and kind of read anybody who stops by as this is happening.
Okay. You get the sense from the sommelier, just with your passive insight, that he's just doing his job. His job is to know people, and his job is to talk about wine. So you don't get anything malicious from him. And I wouldn't say you get anything malicious, but you do get what I call the noble hunger. There's a possibility to rub elbows, to make an acquaintance, and to have someone in your corner. Especially from what you know of the Rivenvine family, they don't get out a lot. So they're probably like, this is the first time that many of them are seeing someone from the Rivenvine family.
Gotcha.
So I would say that would be the energy that you get. And for those who don't know, she has like a passive, I don't know, like 20 something in insight. So sometimes I give her stuff.
My insight is actually only 15, but my perception's 23.
Okay.
Only a 15 perception.
It's fine. These nobles aren't like trying to hide things. Go ahead. Actually, to Zyra, during dinner, as you're looking around, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I absolutely will, and I will use Mippet for advantage. Casual 20.
Dirty 20. So with that, as you're looking around, you do see that the man you had played with earlier, Lord Hubert, seems to be sitting at a table and is in conversation with a woman, younger, probably a couple years older than you guys and your party. Well, I'm not the elves, but you get what I mean. And she's wearing a very beautiful deep purple velvet dress.
I I will signal her out to everybody else.
Okay, easy enough.
It is a stunning dress. Because we do have, by the way, Ravasi's only been calling him Beau all evening.
I love that. He seems like very enamored with you by the end of dinner and a little tipsy, but not like enamored in the puppy dog enamored in the like, I'm just enjoying sitting back, watching you do your thing, like that kind of enamored.
Like the I'm very satisfied with what you can do.
Yes.
Roger.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. After the cheese has come and gone, a beautiful ice wine is poured, and you get to choose dessert. I'm kind of curious what people choose for dessert, too.
Give me hard choices, DM.
I know, I did. Reminder, there's a tart that looks very beautiful. It's definitely got chocolate in it. There's ice cream that has small biscuit on the side, and it looks like there's a fruit plate. So there's a whole bunch of fruit that seems to have some sort of cream dip on it.
Are they like all the fancy cuts and stuff?
Yes.
Hell yeah. The tart is speaking to Sly.
Okay.
Damn.
Sly is a slut for a tart.
Me too.
I guess me 3.
Tazira, what do you choose?
Iris will definitely also go with the tart. She is a chocolate girly.
Okay. And how about you, Nyx? Are you a chocolate person too?
Nyx will respectfully decline the 7th.
Oh, okay. They offer you another pour of ice wine, and when you decline that as well, there's just like a subtle, like, setting of a early tea service on your table. Okay. And as you guys are starting to finish things up, this whole time there's been like a bard kind of playing in the background, very calming, beautiful music. Strong black coffee or teas are served as you kind of are settling in. And then they also go around offering aged brandy or more of the sweet fortified wine if you would like it. And you start to watch as people start to get up and move back to the casino.
Where is Miss Purple Dress going?
You see that she is actually walking also back to the casino. And she's walking arm in arm with Lord Herbert.
I will catch up to them and just kind of connect to his head and say, "Is this the lovely Lady Italia who you were speaking of?"
So you guys I say that you kind of like walk out onto, because you have to like walk out of the dining room onto the railing, the deck that goes around it, and you're underneath the night sky, the boat's moving, you see some of you're riding very close to the Rosewick, because you would know, Tazira especially, that the Great Divide's very deep in the center, and a riverboat like this would probably only be able to stay along the sides. But if you squint, like, you know that roughly 1.5 to 2 miles across the Great Divide, you would be able to see the other country up there that I'm blanking on the name of off the top of my head. So, but in this moonlight, you turn, and he stops, and he turns, and he goes, "Oh, Lady Italia, this was the lovely lady I was telling you about. You said Miss Iris Vervain, is that correct?"
Indeed. And I will give Lady Italia also a slight bow and then reach my hand out to shake.
She also reaches her hand out to shake, and as you kind of look at her, she's wearing a very beautiful velvet dress, in a very deep jeweled purple. It's like very simplistic in the front, but as you were following along with them from behind, it dips completely in the back, and she has a choker of pearls in the front that seems to drip down in the back, so her whole back is decorated with pearls. Her hair
Hell yeah.
looks to be, you're not sure if it's just short or if she just has it fully up, but it is swept up in pin curls and ringlets, and it also has a bead or like a headdress of pearls over the top of her head, and kind of what you're getting to be like the style of the ladies in Maria. They wear a lot of like pearl headdresses in their hair.
Mm-hmm. And as I kind of
Wait,
I will just very gently remark, and by the way, I can see that Marine master handicraft is master class, as I've been told.
She nods at you very, like, graciously, and she goes, "Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. Yes, I do hail from there and prefer to dress in that style, but I will say that I've been very much enjoying the style of dress that people have been using in Rosewick."
Indeed, I hear they're at the forefront of a lot of the new inventions, as one might say.
They do consider them a melting pot, so they've been blending a whole bunch of styles of clothing from multiple different countries. And she kind of pats Lord Herbert's hand and goes, "Lord Herbert did mention that you trounced him in a game of Sava and that I should maybe match with you."
I will give a kind of humble smile and bow my head. Well, what can I say? Perhaps it was beginner's luck, but I would love to play against you.
She nods, and Lord Herbert goes, "Well, I see when I'm not needed. I have made my introductions, and I'm going to go retire off to the side with a glass of brandy to let dinner digest." And he, like, walks off, and Lady Italia leads you back into the Golden Goose Casino.
Beautiful.
As we kind of pan away, we'll go back to that in a second. What would you guys like to do during this time? Ravasi, are you heading back to gamble with your new bow? Badoomts.
does he want to gamble or does he want to go dancing?
Actually, I think he would love to go dancing with you. It takes you suggesting it, but he very gentlemanly puts out an arm and leads you up to the dance floor.
Yeah.
Cool. Nyx and Kamori.
I think Amori is just like unsure because it's just like, well, I was told not to gamble, and I've already
Hey, we,
destroyed as much of this place as I could in terms of food.
Yeah, you were like stuffed, Kamori. That was a good meal.
hey, you were told to enjoy what you wanted.
Yeah. Kamori, I will say the dance floor is upstairs and away from Tizira on the gambling floor. So you guys had kind of talked about keeping an eye on Ravasi, so at least one person should go up there with him.
You know what? That's a fair point. All right, next, do you want to go dancing and have fun for at least a little bit?
No, that sounds disgusting, but I'll go stand up there in a corner and watch Ravasi.
Girl, what do you do for fun?
Lots of stuff.
Like?
I talk to myself in my head. I'm quite funny. I make fun of you guys in my head. I'm still really funny.
Sorry, what was that? I fell asleep because, good lord, you are boring.
Damn.
You call it boring, I call it love myself, and I will walk away and go upstairs.
At least get a room for that.
I like to imagine that Kamori's a little tipsy right now. She
A little bit.
probably drank a lot of the wine pairings.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, you guys go dancing. The music's bopping. Ravasi, it's very well done. They play quite a few different songs. You recognize them mainly as Marian songs. You do also recognize a couple of tunes that are probably a standard in Rosewick that you've heard around. They're all very classy. There's a couple of, like, what I would call Southstone court dances that are played. But it is very fun. You dance with Bo. He does, like, after a bit, you do, like, pass between dance partners. You probably dance with a couple other people, too. He does not seem to dance with anybody else but you, so whenever he passes you to someone else, he will go stand kind of to the side, and wait.
Aww.
So, he seems to be very taken with you. We will go back to Iris for the time being. So, Iris, you sit back down at the Sava tables. She begins to set up the board and kind of goes, so, what would you like to bet?
I will set down 30 chips.
Oh, holy shit. She raises an eye and she goes, interesting. I thought you said you were a beginner.
I've allotted myself a certain budget for tonight, and I don't plan to do much more gambling, so let's have fun. If I win, I win, and if I don't, then go home and spend the gold on something beautiful.
She smiles and she matches your 30 gold. And as she's setting up the table, she just goes, and where are you from?
Simona City. It's quite a beautiful place.
I did recognize the name Vervain. Is your family involved in politics there?
Yes, perhaps you have heard of Sir Crumbane?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed I have. In passing, I don't... And she kind of like waves a hand. I don't bother myself much with others' politics. I'll be honest with you. I much prefer the involvement of my city.
Iris will smile. It's certainly a way to keep a much more steady head, I'll give you that.
Indeed, indeed. And she begins to make pleasant small talk, again, talking about, like, asking you questions about Simona City, about the food there, etc., as you begin to set up. Is there anything specific you would like to ask her? And we will go ahead and do our rolls at the end.
Iris will just kind of... I have a couple things. Iris wants to cover... she'll start with, how are things in Maria? You say that you are, of course, looking over your city, as one should. How are things, I guess, flowing?
Well, I tend to reside in the Glistening Tempest. I am going to be honest with you. I love the Grand Dame and frequented it back in the Glistening Tempest, and when I heard it was coming up here, I couldn't do without it for multiple months, and I was due to travel to this area. I don't have much of a stake in the trade agreements, but I know I'm an investor here and there. I actually tend to invest in the Promise of the Sea. That's one of the mercenary and trade guilds down there.
Oh, I had heard that there were many of the waterborne trade guilds down in Maria.
She nods. You get the sense that throughout the conversation, that she's very guiding of the conversation. She lets you take hold of it, but then she will turn it back towards you very quickly.
Gotcha. I'm going to try and pay specific attention to what things make her take hold of the conversation again. I'm trying to get a read on where her sensitive spots are that she's not letting me turn the conversation to.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an insight check.
Absolutely. Would I be able to cast guidance on myself with this? It is it's a verbal and somatic, so I imagine that I could just like kind of encourage myself in a game.
Allow it.
Beautiful. /1d8. 2d4. 19.
Okay. So with the 19, you get the sense that it's very difficult to tell. She's very, very skilled in the art of conversation, but you get the sense that she's keeping it vague. She doesn't brag about where she got her money. She does not talk about, like, her manor very much or anything along those, or her family. She talks about investments, but they're also very vague. So you get the sense that she doesn't talk about herself a lot. She always turns things back to fashion, back to culture, along those lines.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And I think, like, just kind of near the end of the game, I will I try to do this not so much flatteringly, but, like, I'm trying to make this seem like this is a profound insight that I'm having. And I will just kind of state, well, it has been a fantastic time playing with you. You seem very in tune with all the things that are happening in Maria. They must be very lucky to have somebody such as you there. I do say, what inspires you to be the way that you are and so knowledgeable for your people?
She, like, leans forward and she grins, and as she does, she, like, takes one of your pieces, and she just says, I am going to be honest, a little bit of it is money, in a sense, but the main thing is culture, and you can't have culture without money. I like learning about different people. I like talking with them, picking their brains, playing them.
Well, you and I are not so different in that matter, then.
She grins at you. Is there anything else you would like to talk to her about?
Not at the moment. I don't think there's any questions that Iris has that aren't going to totally give away their angle.
Okay. Alrighty, then let's do our rolls. Go ahead and roll me a intelligence check, a wisdom insight check, and a deception check. Holy shit. That's a 69.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Let me do a roll here. So, she does win.
Oh, damn.
She does win. Barely. She barely wins. And it's interesting to Zyra, especially towards the end. You get the sense that she knows you take some risky moves. You do some moves that not normal people would play. It's the definition of, like, when you're learning a new game, someone who's played much of the game will know, like, how to counter a bunch of different moves. But when you play with somebody who's new or newer or doesn't play, like, competitively or have moves and counter moves memorized, they are a little bit more risky. They're a little bit more creative, right? You get the sense that she's a little surprised by some of your moves, and there's a deep respect, but sometimes she still knows what you're doing before you do.
Interesting.
And go ahead and roll me I will allow an Arcana check. Let's do that.
Absolutely. I'm going to roll a d6 and add that to that. 21.
Okay. With a 21, it's very difficult to tell. She occasionally, you pick up on a nervous tick of her, kind of occasionally playing with she has, like, a bunch of chunky pearl bracelets up her arm, and occasionally she touches one of them. And you get a lot of magic off of her. Either she's casting a spell, or she just has a lot of innate magic ability. And I would say with your capabilities, especially as a newly found Kalishtar, dear lord, as well as somebody of the Church of Simona, a lot of her abilities are psionic.
Hmm. Question.
Answer.
I am currently immune to spells that do divination against me because of the proof against divination. Would that have changed anything?
Will you display that for me?
Absolutely.
Hold on. Oh, that absolutely would have changed something. And actually, I imagine that you're picking this up in like the last couple like moves. You see that she's doing that, and it looks like she's trying to cast a spell or is casting a spell, but something is not taking hold.
Interesting.
So, and you would also notice that despite the considerable amount of like psionic energy that is coming off of her, she never speaks back to you in your mind. She always speaks out loud, replying to you. And I actually think, as you're ending, go ahead and roll me just a straight deception check.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm gonna fix to that.
Okay.
18.
Even with an 18, Tazira, in your questioning towards the end, you get the sense that she's starting to pick up on the fact that you know more than you're letting on, and that you're very pointedly seeking her out and asking her questions. And you start to see the realization on her face, especially as you win against her, and that the spells aren't working, etc. And I actually think she connects to you, and you feel the same connection that you feel when you connect to someone to speak with them telepathically. And she looks like she's smiling and laughing, and she's starting to pack up and put the pieces back, and she just says, in your head, you're very interesting, Lady Iris. Is there something you need from me?
She will smile back and also help her pack up the pieces as she hears this in her head, and Iris keeps a completely straight face as this happens. And it's this kind of, I imagine that she feels, if she can feel this at all, it's this icy cold next to this chaotic jumble. In a way, icy cold here is at the front. And she will say, I seek only to keep those around me safe, and that extends to the places where I am at.
And you're worried that I affect safety of people around?
Not you in particular.
What do you know?
All I know is that noblemen, perhaps some are locked away in bedrooms that reek of musk, but some of them lay cursed in hospital rooms.
She...
Connected.
Oh, sorry, say that one more time, you cut out at the end.
And it seems the water is connected.
Interesting. Okay. She nods, and she says, I may know something. Pretend as if everything is fine. We need to talk, but not here. Follow me when the boat returns to docks. I know that you were here with several others.
Are they allowed to come as well?
Yes.
Beautiful. I appreciate your mind.
She smiles. And it's like a little bit like you're not sure if you can trust her. She's a little dangerous, but she seems to be very insightful. She slides the chips of your winning over to her, and she smiles and says, I know when I've been beat, out loud.
Well, thank you for the amazing game.
She nods and she stands up from the table. A person hails her as she stands up and she grabs a glass of champagne and they seem to go out onto the deck to talk.
Alrighty, I will convene with the rest of the party and also cash my chips in.
Okay. Go ahead and cash your chips in and take that gold. Nice job.
I reached my goal of doubling my investment.
You did
Nice.
indeed. And as the group is reconvening, I imagine that you're grabbing everybody from the dance floor and you're kind of trying to find a quieter place to have a little chit chat. I think this is a great place for us to take a super quick break. So we're gonna take about a 5-ish to 10-ish minute break. We'll be back in a couple, and we will see you all shortly. And we are back. Welcome back as the group continues to explore the casino boat. So, after your conversation with the lady in purple, who you now know to be Lady Italia, you went and gathered the group. I think that you brought them to probably the aft balcony. So it's an extension of the upper deck. So you climbed up to the dancing hall and kind of walked out into the back balcony up by the dancing hall. Its railing is the same wrought iron wisteria as the rest of the ship, but the workmanship seems a little bit finer up here. The lanterns are beautiful, and it sounds like there's a whole bunch of... They started... The whole group is dancing more, and so there's less people out here. You do see the beautiful countryside. It's very dark out now, as we're kind of getting on to, like, 3 a.m. The boat just changed direction and is heading back towards town.
Gotcha.
So, it does
I will
seem, as you look around with Mippet, it does seem that nobody invisible is up here. And you can go ahead and roll a perception check to make sure that nobody can listen to you.
Absolutely.
Also, I would have left the bow in the,
Easy enough.
All right. We got one computer die.
No! I might actually win tonight. I might win the bet. We were betting on how often CC's computer would die tonight, guys.
Either way, I
never
would
say
not
never.
say this out loud. I would relay it to them all via telepathy.
So it just looks like the whole group is kind of standing, leaning against the railing, staring out into the sea quietly. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead and relay everything out that you would like to.
Absolutely. I will tell them about. I obviously pointed her out during dinner, but I will relay that I'm not sure how she got her money. I'm not sure how she's gotten her influence. I'm not sure who she's related to. She seemed very dodgy in that regard. But it seems that she is connected to a group of mercenaries / merchants called what were they called again? I'm sorry, I didn't get that one part.
They were called hold on, wrong document. The Promise of the Sea, which actually, Kamori, is the guild that you were affiliated with.
Oh.
But we played an interesting game of Sava, and it seems that she may know something about what's happening. I don't know if we should trust her, but she's permitted all of us to come and that we will talk.
Well, I mean, the fact that our lovely friend decided that remembered the purple dress and it seemed important enough, I Ravasi's like, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Indeed. I'm definitely not leaning on the side of trust. He seems dangerous, for sure. And she has some sort of psionic ability. She was trying to detect my thoughts, it seems. So be careful of that with her.
Okay, to Zyra, as you guys are kind of chit-chatting, well, not really chit-chatting, but like talking in your head using your abilities up here, you have Mippet circling and are keep like glancing through her eyes, and you're pretty sure that there's nobody up here yet.
Let's see. Okay, finally. Steps is... accidentally plus 12, so that is a 25,
Okay.
actually. Oh, okay, now they're all loading in. Zyra's about to for a lot, guys, potentially.
It's all the possibilities again.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Or not. Okay, maybe only 2 possibilities.
She's either good or she's bad. Thank you for laughing at my stupid ass jokes. I appreciate it.
I mean, though?
Okay.
Alrighty, I will communicate that doesn't seem anybody's coming, so we can talk freely for now.
Well, you want to go into what's totally not going to be a trap? No,
Or-
not at all.
I'm pretty sure it's a trap, but at least we know, I guess, I suppose. Does that make it any better in any actuality?
I mean,
be surprised. We won't be
God.
surprised.
Kamori, say that one more time.
Oh, I was just saying, I mean, not being caught off guard is pretty helpful, so...
Yeah.
Also,
Next, great leader.
I don't know what all this leader talks about, but it's not like there's much option. We all get off the boat at the same place.
It's called sarcasm, my love.
Don't do that with me.
Don't do what with you? Speak about sarcasm?
Yes.
alrighty then. Seems it's decided.
Okay, with that, you guys scatter back. Is there anything? It's starting to. You're on the way back now. You probably have about another 2.5 hours. Is there anything specific that you would like to do in the time being?
Yeah, Ravasi wants to go find this gal.
The lady in purple?
Yeah.
Okay. What would the rest of you like to do?
Let's see, I'm just double checking if I have this before I say it. I'm pretty sure I have locate object. And let's see. Do I have locate object? It's gonna be real funny if I don't. Oh my god, I don't. Never mind.
Okay. Sounds good. You guys head back into the main part of the boat, splitting off. Ravasi, it takes you a little bit to find her. It seems that she's down on one of the decks, kind of on the opposite edge of the boat that you were, and seems to be kind of having a bit of a conversation with someone who, like, after a little bit, you're kind of slowly approaching. You snag like a glass of something off of a server's tray, and after a little bit, they seem to wander off, and Lady Italia is leaning over the railing, just looking out into the water.
He is going to walk up and offer the... He will have snagged 2 glasses, and he'll offer it and say, "It is a beautiful night."
She takes it and nods at you, and kind of does what I call the rich person champagne dangle, where she holds it in the top and is like dangling it over her other hand a little bit.
Bastard! Yeah.
also do the rich person champagne dangle is not a rich person.
It makes you feel so cool.
It does! It makes you feel so cool to be holding such, like, a nice glass so perilously.
Like you don't even care if it broke. I deeply care.
Yes. And she nods and she says, yes, it is rather interesting to... This is... I'm gonna be honest with you. Most nights since the Grand Dame has been docked here and available, I've chose to travel with it, and it is so odd to see the quiet shores as comparison to the vibrant nightlife of the Glistening Tempest that extends through the cruise of the Grand Dame.
Oh.
Yes, as we go for the first and the last roughly 2.5 hours, we are cruising along the sides of the Glistening Tempest, and there's music and life and bright lights, and there's patios with people talking and dancing and eating. She looks a little wistful. And here it is so silent.
Is that such a bad thing? A moment away from it all?
I suppose. Suppose it's not. But I'm starting to get to the point where I miss it.
Am I not to go back?
I will. I will go back. And she
What
turns
is
and
that?
smiles at you and just says soon. Sorry, what'd you say?
He goes, and where is back? If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, Maria, of course. I also hail from the Glistening Tempest. I'm a regular here.
It's quite lovely.
She smiles.
It was very, very exciting to hear about. Such a novelty almost makes it cheapen, you know?
Understandable. It is exciting still.
And Ravasi will scratch his ear and cast Detect Thoughts on her.
Okay.
He doesn't think it's going to work.
You do so, and roll me. I will let you pick Insight or Arcana. You're gonna get different things.
Not Insight. Having that 20 for you, DM.
Okay, I think what happens is you cast Detect Thoughts. And it feels like you slip into her mind to read. And it feels like you're walking through a gate in the wall, correct? And just as you are in there and you're starting to get a sense of what her thoughts are saying, you immediately, the instinct on the back of your neck starts prickling, and in this little mind palace of how this spell works, you turn and you see the gate is about to slam closed, and you instinctually cut the spell off. It looks like she was about to trap you in her mind. And she smiles at you, and she connects to you the same way she connects to Tazira, or it feels like Tazira connects to you, and she just says, "Interesting, little one, trying to read me."
Ravasi kind of turns it around and just goes, "That wasn't very nice, now was it?"
And neither is reading someone's mind when they're simply existing.
You don't seem like the type to pry.
I've already spoken with your friend, and this is all telepathically, mind you.
Oh, no, 100%.
I've already spoken with your friend. I said I would meet you. Is there something else you need?
Yes. Are you going to try to kill us?
And what this looks like to, like, anybody else who's walking on the deck is it looks like the two two very rich people leaning out over the railing, just sipping champagne and staring at the night sky. And she says, "No, I think I won't.
Why not?
Because I need help."
Oh.
And considering your abilities and the fact that you don't seem to get trapped easily, I think you have the skills.
Ah, so you attempt to trap me in my mind and then ask me for my help. Seems a bit of a...
No, you misunderstand, my dear. You were poking in my mind. I was going to trap you in there as repercussions for your actions.
We all know I don't get those.
She, like, you get just, like, a smug, like, yeah, rich kids, I get it, like, feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And she says again to you, "Do you need something? I said I would speak once we leave. It is not safe."
He turns and stares at her deeply in her eyes.
Mhm.
Very, very slowly takes her hand as to not be like aggressive. And very gently brushes his lips to her knuckles and says, "You answered my question. And if you prove me wrong," and he squeezes just a little bit, "there will be dire consequences, but the rest of my crew are kind enough to help."
Roll an intimidation check.
Thank you, DM. How's another? I don't know why I rolled an Arcana, but am I allowed to take the
I will
nat
take
20?
it. What's your modifier for intimidation?
9.
Oh my god. Okay.
9.
So with the 29 intimidation check, and I think there's just like the lingering aspects of the detect thoughts spell, and you get just a small flash of panic, a flash of deep resolution, and a flash of determination. And it looks like you have gotten your message across, and she seems nervous, but it is very difficult to read the nerves on her.
Mm-hmm. He's just wanting to make sure that his people don't get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Your point has very clearly been made very clear.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, you have been a most fascinating conversation. I'm going to go see if they have spiked hot chocolate.
I think that they will make that for you.
I'd offer for you to join me, but he smiles.
I think
don't
that
think
I will
that'd
be good
something
out
you would
here.
enjoy.
At the same time, and she turns and she stays. As you're walking away, you note that while she did drink from her glass, the glass never emptied. She didn't trust you.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay. I will say, for the sake of things, the rest of the evening into the early dusk goes by without a hitch. You're able to find your spiked hot chocolate. Nobody gets kidnapped. Nothing gets lit on fire, nor do you have to fight anything. As the grand...
You want to go make out with Bo?
Oh, absolutely. You can go make out with Bo.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, you guys find like a kind of a corner out on one of the balconies and make out 110%. Kamori, you can drink whatever you would like and eat lots of food. To Zyra, if you request more of the tart, they will absolutely bring you more. So
Absolutely. will. That and like some very nice London fog with an Earl Grey with a little bit of lavender, sprigs, and vanilla.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They definitely. And the Grand Dame rolls back into Nassau. There's a whole bunch of tired and very drunk nobles as the sun is starting to rise. And it is absolutely a beautiful sunrise, very orange and yellows kind of splashing across in the very dusty rose across the top there. And as that happens, you watch as Lady Italia, as well as the rest of the nobles, do disembark from the ship if you guys would like to follow her as discussed.
Indeedy.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. As you follow her through the streets, Promo Square is not quite dead. It's the very, very, like, loud partying part, but she does tuck into kind of like a dead area. She's bringing you back into, like, some of the back streets where there's, like, bodegas and hole in the walls that are still open. There's a couple of carts that are selling like really delicious smelling sandwiches, like Hot Pocket styles that you can like hold and walk with. I imagine that Komori snags one as you guys are walking through.
Yes, absolutely, in a heartbeat.
And she leads you kind of into a back alleyway as you follow along, and you do note that there's nobody near you as you...
Ravasi's head is on a fucking swivel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I would also like to. And DM, you have, unless it decides to go again, you won.
I've won? Oh! Your computer died again. Yes. I mean, no. That
Hey,
sucks.
once more.
Okay.
Can someone roll a d20 plus 13 for
Session ends. That's it. We're done. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck you.
D20 plus 13, you said?
Yep.
Okay, that's for Tazira. You got a 26.
Yippee!
Okay. Tazira, you, I imagine, like, send Mepit up for a bit. You have your head on a swivel. Ravasi, you have your head on a swivel, but I feel like almost for a different reason.
Yeah, honestly.
You're probably, like, several blocks away.
Okay, cool.
You don't see any signs. But
Cool.
from the location of the crime, you're gonna have to go back and watch other sessions to know what happened if you missed it.
Ravasi commits crimes, guys. Don't worry about it.
Crime. But you're pretty sure that you guys are not being followed, Iris, as you tuck into the back alleyway, and she's leaning up against the wall waiting for you. And she just kind of says, all right, we are able to talk here. The couple of locations nearby are shut down, and there aren't prying ears above. I get the sense that you are investigating the missing nobles. Is that correct?
You have a good sense.
I was involved. And I was involved in the abduction of them as well as the noble a couple nights ago, but I did not do it willingly.
Elaborate?
I was forced to. There's an evil sorcerer named Usid. He will kill me if I don't comply. And I would like help if you could kill him first.
What's in it for us, besides accomplishing our own goals?
Whatever. Whatever goods he has down there, you are welcome to take. And here. And she pulls one of her bracelets off and sets it in your hand, Ravasi. It's not magical, but it'll fetch a pretty penny.
I have a different question. Do you have anything that I might be able to get a sense of this Usreth from, just for assurance that this is indeed what you are saying it is?
I unfortunately don't. He
You
is very he's very magical, okay? He came here a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if he was following the group of people coming for the trade agreements or what. We talked. He was initially charming, but he's very evil and ruthless. I
why?
don't know what he needs these nobles for. I don't know what happens to them, but I am terrified, especially with them still being missing, and you mentioned someone being in a medical wing, that it is nefarious.
Well, I appreciate your courage in coming forward with it and your honesty. I myself would be happy to help, and I will look to the rest of my party.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of a given, wasn't it?
So you only helped in aiding and capture and kidnapping. You didn't. You weren't a part of the cursing that's been happening.
I know nothing of the cursing. I know that he resides in the sewers. He kind of
Of course he does.
stays out of the sight of the Thieves Guild. Typically what happens is I deliver my catch to the fish people that protect him. They seem to revere him like a god. And I don't know the layout, I don't know traps, I just know the meeting spot.
Fish people. Why does it have to be fish people?
Question. Are these fish people ringing any kind of bell to me?
Go ahead and roll a nature check.
Alrighty, I will guidance myself on this. Let's see, 1d4. 18.
So with an 18, there's a couple different options it could be based off of that description. There's likely marrow. There is the potential of there are mer people in this world. But they typically are in places where they only have to swim. More than likely, it's Kuotoa.
Oh god, that's what I was afraid of.
I had a nickel for every time I had to deal with Kuotoa in a Zari campaign. I'd have 2 nickels.
I don't remember the last time I brought them out.
The fucking beholder elderbrain abomination. That was my first fight ever.
Oh,
with you.
yeah! That's right!
I did my time.
There's also Billaboop or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that one too. So, I just want to be free of my tormentor, but I'm too afraid to do anything directly. Please don't tell Usith of my involvement.
Of course.
Well, old Nyx is only gonna help under one condition.
And that is?
You'll go to the families of all the people you helped kidnap, admit your wrongdoing, and let them dole out punishment as they see fit.
But it wasn't my fault. I was going to die
That is
otherwise.
cowardice. I don't care about your cowardice excuses. This is my condition.
All right.
Say you promise.
I promise.
You promise to.
I promise to go visit the families of the nobles that I've kidnapped and admit my wrongdoing. Although, if it is agreeable to you, I will wait to see what happens with your investigation in the sewers, and if you are able to procure anything for these families. And I myself will deliver the news.
Yeah, don't sweat that. That'll be a piece of cake, and we will accompany as you admit your injustices to these families.
She blanches a little bit at that.
Ravasi just smiles again at her.
And if you don't, I will dole out punishment as I see fit, and I will be much harsher, so. Because like I said, your cowardice is meaningless to me.
Well, I suppose it will be worth it to be free of Usith.
Well, best of luck, and we will do our best to make sure that he cannot utter another spell nor raise his hand to harm anybody anymore.
Thank you. He's going to be upset. I was supposed to capture another person this evening, and when I do not meet the dead drop.
I am going to actually pull out a sheet of paper, and I am going to write her basically like little paper of like, hey yo, I vouch for this person, please let her like hide in the library or something.
Okay.
And tell her the Wyvern Wing Guild.
Absolutely, you can do that. She will take it graciously. She will, on a separate piece of paper, kind of draw a little bit of a map, and she shows you where you are now, and she shows you about 3 blocks down that there's an entrance to the sewers that she would take, and that is where to go. And then she kind of says, I recommend resting before you go. Obviously, we've been partying all evening, and imbibing, and I don't think that you should take this. He's very powerful.
Indeed.
I think I'm going to go clean out the place I was staying, and I will head to the guild as you suggest.
Yes. Talk to Doran. He's a kind man, and should there be any sort of contingency set up that might harm you, he may be able to help you, and at worst comes to worst, cast Revivify.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You? A sorcerer, you said, correct?
Correct, as far as I know.
Do you understand what kind of sorcery he excels in, or it was born into?
I do not. However, he did teach me a little bit, small bits of magic that I've used this evening to speak with you. To protect myself.
And DM question. You said that she has brown hair. What is she? I'm just gonna like try and get a good sense of what she looks like in general, because I can change my robes and I'm proficient with the disguise kit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, she has very dark, almost black hair. The more you interact with her, it is pretty shortcut, and she has it all up in pin curls. And then the very drastically beautiful purple dress.
Beautiful. I will actually take out a set of traveler's clothes and be like, this is going to sound very odd, but give me your address. Do you normally go down there in that, or no?
Typically I do. I just come straight off the boat and lead him down there. She will...
I know your plan.
She will duck around the corner and will change.
Beautiful.
You can... I feel like he would buy it if you said that he doesn't investigate above his area very often. I'm the one who often brings news. So I think that if you told him that the Grand Dame got stuck and was delayed in arriving, then that would be a good lie.
Absolutely. And what state are the men who you usually bring whenever you see him?
Typically very intoxicated.
You think you can fake that, Fossey?
Of course I can. I've been faking it all evening.
Beautiful. Is there any particular way that he has you address him, or any particular way that you tend to talk to him?
No. Just Usith.
Alrighty. Well, don't worry. He'll get his delivery, quote-unquote, from you in short time.
Thank you. I appreciate
course.
it. Well, I'm going to go see if I can vacate the premises of my place and tie up some loose ends.
Travel safe.
She nods. And she leaves down the alleyway. Okay. And you guys are free without her.
Beautiful. I change back to Zari and my posture immediately worsens. Alrighty, so it seems like we have a plan so far. Any input from you, Komori, or Nix?
I'm just so confused how you were two different people.
Magic.
Like, no, that wasn't magic. That was something else.
I'm not literally two different people, I don't think. You know
No,
how...
hold on.
Right.
Do I have to roll you out or something? Because, like... I just... It's like I don't know where some of that came from.
Tazira and Iris have different uses.
Okay, then. You know what? I'm just not gonna question it. Sure. That works for me.
Tazira will not.
Look, if
I'm
Rafaki wasn't
understanding
just
this
as
is not the
toxic
time.
about who he was as a person, he would be calling you the fuck out. But he is. And he's like, no, this makes perfect sense.
Alrighty. Anything else we want to do beforehand?
I guess my question
Okay.
is do you want to head straight there or would you like to rest?
Rest.
Okay.
Unless you guys want to head straight there. I don't know if it's a 3-1.
You are at this point exhausted.
Probably should.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. You head back to the guild and are able to tumble into your beds, taking some time to wash off makeup, etc. And conking out for a bit. Ravasi and Nyx, you are up first after just chilling for 4 hours. You get in probably about 5:30, maybe 6 a.m. So you guys are kind of like hitting the late breakfast hour. And I will allow you guys to long rest with like 6 to 7 hours for Komori and Tazira, considering the fact that you are in an inn and you're able to be functional after that time. It's a little bit different when you're like out and you're sleeping on the ground, etc. So.
Yeah. With my extra time, could Ravasi go, I know, shocking, to the library?
Yes, you can.
He essentially wants to look up curses from like sea monsters.
Okay. You walk into the library. It has very sweeping windows that look out onto the fields out back where people are, actually you see people are training. It looks like there's some sort of sports game going on in the back right now. And it's very quiet in the library. It's aisles upon aisles. It's very light and bright, and the ceiling is completely painted in some sort of star pattern. And as you kind of like look up, you look and see that the stars are moving slightly. After a bit, you're kind of poking around, and after a bit, you see in the aisleways a very spaced out looking Air Genasi in the middle of a book, kind of sitting cross-legged, just reading with these huge round frame glasses, and she just looks up at you and then goes back to her book.
Fair enough, fair enough.
But go ahead and make me an investigation check.
10.
So with a 10, you're looking around. You see a couple of books that talk about like sea creatures, but they're very generic. It's very like, these are different types of fish, and these are different types of people who like come from the sea, and humanoids, etc. But it's very generic information. You do find one book that kind of talks about like different sea creatures of legends and myths from different lands, but there's nothing like super exciting that sticks out. It's very much like a mythology appendium. I would actually even say that you've probably read something similar from your library at home. If you would like, you could ask for help.
I'll ask for help.
Okay. And you kind of poke around, and you realize after a little bit that the Air Genasi's the only one here.
Hello? And he will, wait for her to respond.
It takes a little while. It's like you were waking her up, and she looks up at you. Do you read... What languages do you know?
Not too many. Like common sign language, deep speech, elvish, infernal.
Okay. You actually note that this is a book in deep speech.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it seems to be some sort of horrible monster smut book about a whole bunch of creatures that are from the Underdark.
Yep.
But she looks up at you. She's older. She looks to be like mid-40s, early 50s, but it's hard to tell with Air Genasi because they look very young. And she just says, yes, can I help you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ravasi will ask the same thing. Like, he's trying to do research into what kinds of curses and diseases, or like... The lady used psionics, right?
Correct.
Or like psionics at certain deep sea creatures. Like if any of those three things, or psionics plus something else kind of combined, if she knows anything about a creature like that, or could direct me to the book regarding that.
Interesting. The reason you didn't find any books is because I have all of them at my desk. We were researching them.
Oh.
Probably for the same
thing, I presume.
Likely. The man. He's better now.
That's good. Fully healed or not yet?
Weak. Though, to be honest, I think he's just weak in general.
Fair enough.
You're asking for curses, psionics, something to do with deep sea creatures.
Yes.
Well, there's...
Particularly... Oh. No, please go.
No, what were you particularly looking for?
Particularly on the psionics part? It's a hunch.
Interesting. Well, Give me a second to pull up
Thank
a
you,
couple
dear.
of things.
I think you know what I'm trying to get at, DM.
I do. Well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of deep sea creatures are proficient in psionics, considering the fact that you can't really talk underwater. It's difficult. So stuff like deep psions can speak telepathically. Obviously, there's various kraken types can speak telepathically. Aboleths can speak telepathically. I'm trying to think of all of them. And she's just listing this off. She is not doing any research at all.
Very cool. What about what did we what was said? Krakatoa?
What?
What are the fish
Krakatoa.
people?
Oh, Kutoas.
Kutoas.
Hold on.
What about? Yeah, no worries. What about those?
They are fish people, humanoids. They can't speak telepathically, but they can sense creatures in the ethereal plane. So, kind of psionics. Psionics adjacent.
Okay.
So, to be honest with you, if you want my frank analysis, I would be worried. This reminds me, the man's ability reminds me of a creature called an aboleth. They can surround, like, you know when an octopus does an ink cloud?
Yes.
They do that with mucus. And typically, I think that was the curse that he was under.
Well, you have been most insightful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, if you're gonna go investigate the creature, my wife said that you were kind of checking out the whole situation, but if you are, just be careful. Watch your brains.
Assumes any of us has any brain to be concerned about in the first place.
Well, your wizard does. She trained with me for a bit before I sent her to Tobias.
It was a joke.
Oh. I guess don't get mucused, or you're gonna have to be, like him, taking damage.
Don't get slimed. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Komori will be so disappointed. Alright, well, thank you.
Well, Komori might be is she the... Is it offensive to call her a barbarian lady? Because that's what she is,
she's
right?
a barbarian lady.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I recognized the adaptation, although I haven't seen any other sea creature adaptations, which is interesting. I wonder if they have a couple further south, or maybe they didn't survive in the experimentation. Huh. That makes sense considering the fact that breathing underwater is very difficult.
Kinda just shrugs. No.
But I think that she'd probably be the only one who doesn't die from damage being out of the water with that.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. Feels like something's fishy.
But
She realizes and she goes, huh.
I am ignoring that comment for the sake of my own peace.
Well then, for the sake of my own peace, I'm ignoring you. And she pulls the book back up.
Yeah, and he will give a little bow. And he will head out.
Okay. She goes back to her super, probably a very dark romance.
Statistically.
Yep.
Yes.
And the rest of the group after that time does indeed wake. You all can get some food before you head out. Good on you for doing research.
Thank you.
Indeedy.
Okay. Is there any other preparation you wish to do before heading to the sewers?
Let me see. What spells do I have for my druid list? I'm just changing around some spells.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, gee.
I can do water breathing. That's gonna be important.
Indeed it might be. Okay.
Nothing I.
So, as the group gathers breakfast, gets whatever beverages they do wish, it's about, I would say, like noon or close to 1. I don't think anybody's hungover. I think the only person who, like, drank was Komori, and Komori's... I'm not gonna make her roll. But...
He's fine.
Yeah. So, but you guys head to the area where she marked it off. What is the plan? Zari, you said you were doing something?
I'm definitely prepping water breathing, and let me just double check something real quick and double check that it's not a concentration. And also the duration. Where is it? Show me what you got. Oh, beautiful. It's even a ritual, so I don't have to... Beautiful. I'm going to spend 10 minutes to cast water breathing on everybody.
Okay, easy enough. I think that lasts for like 8 hours.
It lasts for 24 actually.
Oh,
so
shit.
Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll just kind of go, do we want to try and sneak our way in there?
Might be the better approach for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And as you gather all of your things, find the alleyway where the sewer entrance is, you dip down into it, and you enter the sewer grate from above, climbing down this metal ladder into a tunnel that appears... It's blocked off behind you, but it continues east into the depths. It smells dank, it smells fishy, and it's quiet. And absolutely pitch black. And I think that, as you enter the sewers, is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Yippee! Well, it's starting to go, so...
Yup. So, next thing we pick up, the group will be exploring the sewers. We went from a super fancy yacht boat to a casino yacht to down in the sewers, which is super fun. So that's what I got. If you're with us on Twitch, stick around. If you're with us on YouTube, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Check out all of the links in the description below. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed.